So what I have done is I've already pre-recorded a bunch of stuff, and I've got my sound effects here, my music here, and my script. But the way you record within GarageBand is you just click the record button. Oops. I forgot something very important, which you need to turn the metronome off and the timer off, because otherwise you'll get that annoying clicking sound. So I'm going to start over, hit record, and now it's going to record my voice. You can see there's a waveform here. So I don't actually need this. I'm just going to delete it. If you've already recorded some stuff or collected audio you want to add, you can just drag it onto the track.
The California Incense Cedar is one of the trees that grows outside my house.
It's a very boring little monologue about a tree outside my house. So you'll notice there's like a little bit of noise as I get ready here. One of the first things we can do is take out the unnecessary audio in our clip. So to do that, we're going to edit split regions at playhead, click on this, and then just press delete, and it's gone. If you delete something by accident, GarageBand has this neat feature where you can just drag the edges of your audio file and it will restore the part that you deleted. I found this nifty nature sounds track. I used a software called ClipGrab to drag it off the internet, and I posted a link to that in the free sound resources page. If I drag it into this empty space here, it's going to put it on a new track. And you'll see that this one there's nothing here. That's because it takes a long time to fade in. So I'm just gonna trim this, move it here.
The California Incense Cedar is...
Okay, there we go. So I've got basically 4 sentences in here. And right now, this is just me talking and talking and talking.
An incense cedar because of its fragrant leaves.
And the audio quality is good, right? So for the narration, what I did was actually put a towel over my head as I was recording because the background noise in my house was just awful. And it worked pretty well. So I think what I'm going to do is right in the middle here, I'm going to split it again so I can put something else in the middle to break this up. I'm just going to make some space here. Now this is just going to be dead space right now, so it'll just be the birds. So that silence can be nice, but again, it's a little dull to just listen to the birds forever and ever, so I'm going to add some transition music instead. But first, what I want to do is split the nature sound track, Command T again, get rid of the part I don't want. And I also want this to fade out. I don't want it to cut off suddenly. So to do that, we need to go up to Mix and do Show Automation. You can also just press A. And that'll make these nifty little bars appear across your track. What do these do? These are actually automation bars that let you add these points by clicking, and then you can drag to adjust the volume. So I want this to cut off pretty quickly.
Of its fragrant leaves.
Yeah, so it's not even, that's actually a little too quick. I'm gonna move it back.
Fir is called an incense cedar because of its fragrant leaves.
Nice, that's what I like. So you're going to be doing a lot of this, like listening to yourself talk, and it's going to be terrible, but you'll get used to it eventually. And I think that's just part of podcasting, is getting used to the sound of your own voice, because it just sounds really awkward sometimes. So now I want to add some music. I've got my loops library up here. So I think I'm going to do this by instrument. We're going to do guitars, and I think the one I want is called Gear Up. Yeah, that's intent. So I'm going to pretend that this goes here for now. And I'm going to pick this. Yeah, so California Incense Cedar is super boring, but now this is a transition that means we're going to go on an adventure in the woods. So to make this loop, I need to turn off the automation, and then I'm going to click the ends of it and extend it through the end of the podcast. Now there's a problem.
The largest incense cedar in California.
It's really loud. So again, I can make that fade down. If I do mix, show automation, this gets its own little bar. And I click it to make a point. I want it to fade out right about here. And I want it to do it pretty quickly. Go way down if you have music below your audio.
The largest incense cedar in California.
Okay, much better. I'm just gonna drag this down because this is just too much. All right. Okay, so how do I know that that's too loud? Something to watch is these moving green bars over here. You saw that went up to yellow. That's about where you want it. You don't want it to be up in the red like this is.
Incense cedar in California.
Right, that. So we're gonna turn this down just a teensy bit.
Is 152 feet high with a circumference of 38.5 feet.
Nice. Okay, we're gonna call that good. And that is my 12-second podcast on the California Incense Cedar, the tree that grows outside my house.
The California Incense Cedar is one of the trees that grows outside my house. This conifer is called an incense cedar because of its fragrant leaves. The largest incense cedar in California is 152 feet high with a circumference of 38.5 feet.
Sweet. So that's obviously not a complete podcast, but it could be a nice intro to a podcast. And at this point, I would definitely want to bring in some more engaging content and not just drone on and on about the incense cedar. I might decide to have a conversation with someone or bring in some sort of story that is not just documentary style monologue. They're going to be expecting the pace of this to pick up, and I need to deliver by providing some more interesting content. But that's basically all of the editing steps that you need to make a great podcast. So I look forward to hearing what you all come up with.